Well, what's on YouTubers? It's the Natural Born Thriller, and welcome everyone to All Elite Wrestling Review, the show from June 24th, 2020, with your AEW Dynamite results. Your commentators were Gulo J.R. Jim Ross, Excalibur, Tony Navani, and they were at Jacksonville, Florida, in Daily's Place. And this is the AEW Fyter Fest 2020 Go Home Show edition, where it pertains to this particular show for AEW Dynamite, and a lot more to talk about as well, pertains to what's going on in the world of wrestling. We'll get to that when I get to those numbers of wrestlers, and um yeah, we'll get to it. Um, but it's not good at all, folks. But uh, find a way to get through it as it goes by and everything. But not here or there. Just give me one moment while I check things for now, and then I'll get back to you. So give me one moment. And it's good. Let's get to it, folks. So, a lot of things have changed lately for pertains to for the show of AEW Dynamite for the home show edition for Fyter Fest. And we'll get to most of it. And let me first off with Luchasaurus versus Warlow. We finally got the match that we all been waiting for, or pertains to them having a lumberjack match. We finally got a chance to get it. We were supposed to get it, but the pandemic hit us out of nowhere where we couldn't get it, and here we are. Months later, everybody finally getting it. It was a 20-minute time limit. Excuse me. It was a 20-minute time limit in this one, and I'm just gonna say, well, first let me say Warlow. He was very impressive in this match. Not saying that Luchasaurus wasn't, but Warlow basically shined in this match a lot more than Luchasaurus did. With that being said, the match wasn't anything special. If this wasn't a lumberjack match, it would have been decent, close to being solid. This match wasn't solid, wasn't decent at all. The lumberjack really killed it for what it did. For example, Marco Stunt tried to get involved. That alone was a letdown, and that irritated me, and that brought down on the match as well. Brandon Cutler, for a reason, got to Warlow, and I know why they all did all this too, because the lumberjacks were there. They're there to pertains to bodies being thrown at bodies. Basically a body to be thrown onto a pile of bodies. That's what it was, and that's what lumberjacks are meant to do nowadays. Basically, the route that WWE has been doing all these years, and that's the problem that I had with lumberjack. It was WWE vibe that I got. Don't like saying it, but it is what it was. It was a WWE book match that I did not want to see on AEW. And then when it comes to Marco's Stunt, once again, I got their Warlow. Now I understand why Marco Stunt has been hired by AEW. He's hired just to be thrown around by big guys, and also to be tossed around on top of bodies for essentially these type of matches. It's not because of his wrestling. Let's face it, Marco Stunt is not a good wrestler at all. Not of what I've seen. He's just there just to do stunts. And then after hearing why he's in the wrestling business, he's in it for the money. He's not in it for the craft or for the art of wrestling. He's not in it for the passion of wrestling. He's in it for the fucking money. It's not wrong making money. But if you're not making money for something that you love doing, then you don't belong in that business. especially for Marco Stunt. And some people are probably thinking, well, how you know all this? Because he said it on Being the Elite. He said that one point. I don't remember what episode it was, but he said that. He was answering a Q&A pertains to Being the Elite Q&A thing. He asked his fans a question. The fans said basically was saying, "Oh, why are you in the wrestling business?" And then he clearly said, "For the money." Now I see why Marco Stunt is in AEW. He's in it for the money. I see why he's in the wrestling business as well. He's in it for the money. Meanwhile, you got Luke Perry's son, Jack Perry. Luke, the late Luke Perry, who was a huge wrestling fan. Now he's got his son in the wrestling business, who's also a wrestling fan, obviously. Like father son, wrestling is one of love, in the world. And this with Boy Jack Perry, I know he's got a lot of potential as a wrestler, and I know why he's in the wrestling business because he loves wrestling. It's not just for the money. You gotta do what you gotta do in the business. That what pertains to having a passion for it, or having the love for it, doing what you love to do, being what you want to be. Don't be in it for the wrong reasons. Like for example, just for the money. It makes you feel like that you don't care for the business at all, and that's what is my big problem with Marco's son. I don't think he cares for the business at all. That's how I feel. So Marcus Dunn, he's there just to be tossed around, to be thrown onto people, and to just do stunts. I used to Spike Dudley when they was tossing him around back in the days of ECW, and especially what pertains to of his run in WWE, which he was that much of a toss around in WWE, more likely in ECW, which is to Bam Bam Bigelow. At least he was in the business what pertains to entertain the fans, what pertains to pro wrestling. But yeah, this match was a letdown. Match should have never been a lumberjack match. And again, what pertains to the lumberjack match, it made me feel like this was a WWE level type of match. And that's something I don't want to be reminded of me of watching WWE anymore. So this match was garbage. Warlow got the win after a low blow on Luchasaurus and got him with F10, and that was the end. After the match was over, they announced that it's going to be MJF and Warlow versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and we'll get to that when we get to Fyter Fest. Chip Baker, she's behind the plexiglass of our go kart. Because last time Big Swole, this time she's all ahead, and there you go. And I really don't care. Hikaru Shida, the AEW Women's World Champion, versus Velvet Red. Now, I mean Red Velvet, excuse me, not Velvet Red, Red Velvet. Now here's the thing: I didn't know it was Red Velvet at first because she was wearing a different outfit, and I completely forgot how she looked too, by the way. But before we get to the match, Shida saw W4 in the crowd because she's playing fan. Basically build up more tension before they got to the match for Fyter Fest. W4 and Shida was getting words for one another. She got attacked by Ford. Also, Kid Damon's there too. I always just want to bring that up, and I'll get back to them later too. About once I get through this. So Shida wants to get to Ford. Ford was back in the way, and on top of that, the referee was Paul Turnabout was holding her back. So the match carried on. Well, the match finally began. I meant to say. So the match began. Sheeta went and gave Red Velvet a knee, and then a full Canaro, and then pins her 1, 2, 3. Match is over. So immediately, quickly, I feel bad for Velvet because Red Velvet felt like she's a victim of being jobbed the way that she got jobbed. But then Sheeta goes after Plum 4 and start fighting. Both women were fighting until Ricky Starks pull Sheeta off of her, and Kip Sabian pull Plum off of her. Kip Sabian got hit by Sheeta with his lens of the glasses came off. Also, what I saw in the crowd too, Cesar Bononi, former NXT wrestler who was fired back in April due to budget cuts, which was bad part for the E's level in that way. Pertains to the pandemic that we're still going through. It's kind of cooled down on the way, but has not gone away yet. But yeah, and also I got to mention this too. What pissed me off about what happened earlier, the opening match of the lumberjack match, was that Marco Stunt was beating up on Ricky Starks, and Starks was selling for Marco Stunt, and that pissed me off too. More pertains to that, I just not remember that part, so I had to bring that up. But anyways, it's basically to build more heat for Sheeta and Penelope for Fyter Fest, and we'll get to that later on in the week. And now get to a whole thing with why Jimmy Havoc wasn't there, folks, because Jimmy Havoc, Kip Sabian, and Penelope 4 together, they are a super bad squad. Unfortunately for Jimmy Havoc, what pertains to the whole speaking out thing that's been going on, the speaking out movement that's been trending on Twitter of that. What was it, like 2 weeks ago now? I believe it has been so far. Yeah, 2 weeks ago now. Jimmy Havoc was one of those people that was accused of sexual allegations. So from there, Jimmy Havoc has been suspended from AEW, and also to some kind of program that he's got to get himself better of the thing of it and everything. And it's unfortunate too, So hopefully he does better, and hopefully he does come back. If he doesn't come back, then it sucks though, because Jimmy Havoc, I believe he was for what he did years ago, I believe he was was learn from that, and was just gonna better at it in a way, and with him being signed with AEW, I thought it was good. It was something like that was gonna come back to haunt him and everything, and unfortunately it did. I'm not gonna get more on that one until before I end this review, but I'm just gonna leave it as that. Well, yeah, hopefully Jimmy Havoc gets better of the treatment that he's going to do in that program. Hopefully he does come back. But last thing we need right now is someone like Jimmy Havoc who is doing better. Ever since he came to AEW to now lose this whole thing because of this type of situation that wrestling is in right now. To the Fyter Fest press conference between Cody Rhodes and Jake Hager, which by the way, Jake Hager was late. So it was basically for Bertans to help hyping up the incomplete TNT championship. So basically, Cody, Dustin Rhodes, Arn Anderson, Brandy Rose, and Allie. And you're already wondering what happened to QT Marshall. No, he wasn't part of the that moment thing. I'll get to more of him after I get to this press conference. But for a chance to QT Marshall being there, yeah, I feel like Ali should not be there either because, QT Marshall there, then there's no need for Ali to be there too. But then again, maybe Ali has changed her ways, and maybe she is more, now been invited to and welcome to the Nightmare family, where this whole thing. So I guess that's the story pertains to why she was there. So, but Jake Hager was late. Basically, the press conference was about hyping up Lee and Jake Hager. I mean, those a lot of things I will say here too as well, but I'm not getting into all that. But Jake Hager finally shows up, and he has his wife there, too, by the way. And also, ever since Jake Hager, there have been some talks about him. He's also been accused of some type of sexual allegations, which it has been not been clear yet, has not been investigated that much, of what I've heard. And really, we really don't know what the allegation that he's going to he's going through, of some claim that is, unless it was just a false allegation there, and it was and it was just swept away. But the press conference between Hager and Cody was basically an MMA feel, which was great. Hager put his fist in front of Cody. Cody was irritated with it, pushed Hager, and all of a sudden Hager's wife gets a glass cup of water that was on the table, pours in the face of Cody, and then Cody holds back Dustin, Brandy, and he's like, it's fine, and that was it. I didn't like it, folks. I didn't like the press conference. Other than tensions, which it was fine. I didn't like the press conference at all. I see a better press conference than this. Let's just say that. I didn't think it was terrible. I'm not saying I hated it. I just didn't like it. So, but it needed to be done what pertains to the build up between Cody and Hager. So we see the package of Sunny Kiss and Joey Janela. As we've seen, Sunny Kiss was driving as Joey Janela was walking, asked him to come in, and he stick a ride with him, and he agreed, and then they went to go shopping, basically at a gas station, with just a local store there. So he went to get some snacks. Meanwhile, Sunny Kiss is fighting with a group of guys going after Sunny Kiss, and then Joey Janela comes out and sees what's going on. He fights along with Sunny Kiss, and then they won the fight, and they both they left. And I thought it was and by the way, it was cinematic, obviously, but I thought it was decent. And they show basically a short one on there. I don't remember watching the full one. I got watch back at it just to remind myself if I did see the full one. I really can't remember at all. But hey, I thought it was decent. But the some members, they probably, I mean, I know they didn't like it, because obviously I was there. So Joey Janela and Kiss, they got a jumper entrance. What that mean? It means they were just in the ring as they go up against Coco Cabana and the leader, the exalted one of the Dark Order, Mr. Brody Lee. Match happens. Match itself was pretty decent, with Coco Cabana and Brody Lee winning the match, with Coco Cabana getting the pin onto Joey Janela. So that's the end of that undefeated tag team between Sunny Kiss and Joey Janela. But the tag team still lives on, obviously. After the match, though, Lance Archer, he finally shows up and finally does something to Sunny Kiss. And then Joey Janela sees this and goes after Archer, but Archer exposes him, and that was it. Lance Archer just killed Sunny Kiss and Joey Janela. But one guy who got the worst was Sunny Kiss, obviously. I don't know what for a reason the Lance Archer is quite done for, but I guess if you come across the Murdoch Monster, everybody died. And Jake Roberts was trying to calm him down, but again, I think it built to a whole thing where Jake Roberts doesn't know how to control the monster, Murdoch Monster. I believe that's the story they're going with, and if they are, does that mean Lance Archer's going to be it's going to get rid of Jake Roberts? I don't know. I think it's a nice fit with Jake Roberts and Archer. Before I didn't like it at first, but then I'm really starting liking it. It makes total sense. We're taking to a legend like Jake Roberts who can relate to like a Archer. But I digress. FTR versus SCU. FTR will feature Cass Wheeler and Dax Harwood versus Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. Now, originally, folks, it was supposed to be the Natural Nightmares between QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes. obviously alongside with Brandon Rose and Ali. Unfortunately, with QT Marshall, now I said before, um, you know, during the press conference segment, that he wasn't there for some reason, with with Ali, and I was there. Well, here's why. QT Marshall was with someone who was in contact with COVID-19, unfortunately. So he contacted AEW, let them know about that. The AEW said, "Thank you for letting us know. Uh, and don't bother coming in. When you're tested negative, and if you're you're quarantined, yourself in a way where you can't catch it. Hopefully, don't he didn't catch it, which by he didn't, by the way, he didn't. He'll be back pretty soon. Um, so yeah, it's unfortunate. We could have saw the Natural Nightmares versus FTR, but this was still better because SCU, were Mr. Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, are the best tag team in the business. You know, this was a great match. This was the best match on the show of this home show edition, where it takes AEW Dynamite. Nothing but free botch tag team wrestling in a way, and I loved it. It was great. In the end, FTR got the win with the Night Express, formerly known as the Shadow Machine, after Christopher Daniels, and they got the win. After the match, though, basically when it's the FTR, whenever they do, they do the entrance, they come into their pickup truck. Well, all of a sudden we see the Butcher and the Blade in their pickup truck, and the Blade come to promo to FTR, basically challenging them to an 8-man tag match. And also we see the Lucha Bros in the ring, and they attack FTR. And then come in for the save. Lucha Bros got a bit left, and they drawn along with the Butcher and Blade as they stole FTR's pickup truck. And then that was it. So it's been announced that it's gonna be FTR and the Young Bucks versus the Butcher and the Blade and Lucha Bros at Fyter Fest in the 8-man tag match. It's great to see Ray Phoenix back from his injury, and it's also great to see Pentagon Jr. after being quarantined and stuck in Mexico after this whole pandemic. All we need now is for Pac to come back, and then Jeff Triangle can reunite. Now, when that's gonna happen though, I don't know, because Pac's still stuck over in the UK, overseas. So hopefully he'll make it back here. Negative from COVID-19. We go to the package of Omega and Hangman Adam Page represents two best friends. Representing build up the tag team title match for Fyter Fest, which I thought was good. Just especially Hangman Adam Page being so, Hangman Adam Page being so entertaining in this one. It's obviously been drinking beer. I mean, look. Then we get a review package of Jon Moxley and Brian Cage for their match for the AEW Championship title at Fyter Fest. And we'll get to that too, folks, once I get to this. Because Brian Cage being accompanied by Taz versus Joey Cruz, and Brian Cage wins. There you go. It's short to the point. Taz gets the microphone, and he badmouths Jon Moxley at Fyter Fest that is coming, and says that Moxley Championship title is in jeopardy. Now, here's the thing. It was supposed to be Jon Moxley in action. Unfortunately, that all plans change, and Brian Cage ends up being in action instead. And they play this whole angle where Moxley has made an injury excuse of why he didn't show up. But here's the truth, folks. Moxley didn't show up because he also let AEW know that he can't come to the building because he's been with someone who's also been with someone who's in contact with COVID-19 as well. And I blame the WWE for the sloppy shop, which I'll get to that when it pertains to Fyter Fest later this week. Because I thought it was great the way that it was done, and I appreciate I know what I'm talking about. But hopefully y'all tune in for that one. But yeah, that Plans were ruined because of that. Moxley's plans of being on the Golem Show was ruined. Moxley's plans of being on Fyter Fest of 2 was ruined. But AEW did make enough for us, but we'll get to that later on in the week. But there you go. That's why. Mr. Brody Lee is backstage with Colt Cabana, pressing him a win match. And he says, now we're going to challenge SCU at Fyter Fest. Basically, it's going to be Brody Lee, Stu Grayson, and Colt Cabana versus Christopher Daniels, Mickey Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. So, and I think that's going to be for event 2. Yeah, actually, yeah, it is event 2 for Fyter Fest. Tony Schiavone, it's been handed by one of Chip Baker's notes, where it pertains to bad mouthing Big Swole, and blah blah blah. I do not like this whole thing for Chip Baker what she's doing. I just don't care. Then we get to Matt Hardy, of one of the 3 personas that's been chosen by the fans, against Santana, who's being played by Ortiz. The reason why Santana is a match because originally it was supposed to be Sammy Guevara, but due to the whole speaking out movement thing, no, Sammy Guevara has not been accused of any such allegations, but being called out by Sasha Banks of this podcast that he was on, or radio show, whatever it was, in 2016, about when, obviously when Sammy Guevara was part of WWE at the time, and NXT Developmental, where he first met Sasha Banks there, when he first saw her there, he wanted to her. But obviously with the radio station he was in, yeah, they condone those type of things. And Sam Guevara feel like he needed to fit in with those people. But then obviously years later, he did after that. But the thing, am I defending Sam Guevara what he said? No, that was terrible things to say. It was stupid. It was stupid of him to say that. And if he thought that was funny at the time to say that, no, it wasn't funny at all. I'm pretty sure those guys, were in that show, or in that radio show, or whatever, they thought it was funny because they love that type of humor, right? Fuck them. But Sasha Banks speaks about that. Sammy Guevara, what Sammy Guevara said at that time. I don't know if that's something that she heard about before, or some that fans share with Sasha Banks there. But Sammy Guevara and Sasha Banks, they did talk it out on the phone. You have a conversation on that, your private conversation, and hopefully it's all good. But by the looks of it, everything that's been replied on Twitter and everything, it does sound good. But AEW, they took actions. They suspended Sammy Guevara, I think, for 30 days, and of the salaries, it was donated to some kind of women fund, something like that. I'm trying to remember what it was. I can't remember. Forgive me for not know what it was. But yeah. So yeah, we're supposed to be Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy. Where Sammy Guevara was going to choose the 3 personas of Matt Hardy, but instead, because of all this, Sammy Guevara is now out and Santana is now in from the Inner Circle. So they had the fans decide who they want to see to face Santana instead, and they chose Matt Hardy. And basically, you get Broken Matt Hardy, and also we see Neo. Neo 1, formerly known as Vanguard 1. I can't remember what Excalibur said before. What's the NEO stands for? I can't remember. I think it's I think it was something about National Electricity, or I can't remember. But he basically was the meaning behind the name of Neo. Excuse me. But as far as the match between Santana and Broken Matt Hardy, it was alright. It was decent, and Broken Matt Hardy wins. When after the match, they build up on Broken Matt Hardy. All of a sudden, we get Private Party coming out to save, and Santana Ortiz leaves. And basically, it's going to be building up for Private Party versus Santana Ortiz for Fyter Fest, which we'll get to that later in the week. But also, I noticed that Isaiah Cassidy was wearing a T-shirt of Jack Gaspar, Person Tees, by the way, folks. Which I got that T-shirt myself. If you remember, me doing a about before, a while back, months ago. I'm pretty sure you know what T-shirt I'm talking about. So yeah, it was nice that Isaiah Cassidy wore a T-shirt because obviously Gaspar unfortunately passed away this year. By putting his son's life first before his life, and unfortunately his life was taken away from us, taken away from us too soon. So yeah, rest in peace to Shaq Gaspar. If you want a meaning of a true hero in this world, Shaq Gaspar was that hero, and is that hero to us all. And finally, we get the face off with Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho for their match for Fyter Fest, which is going to be at event 2. So Orange Cassidy comes out first, then Chris Jericho comes out, and then we get Chris Jericho on the microphone and says why the chicken crossed the road to get the basically what it takes to get the other side. And he kept saying it too. And he brought a good point with this too, with just Orange Cassidy. He says the joke is dumb and annoying, like Orange Cassidy, and he is a chicken that crossed the road joke. That's what that one, the whole thing. And he said that Cassidy's name is stupid and his wrestling is a joke. When he found out that AEW signed on Cassidy, he asked Tony Khan, Cody, and the Young Bucks, why did they sign him? And he started to praise Cassidy a bit. He says, "Not I get why. He is charismatic and all that." And then he says, "But he went to call him, you're lazy, you're a slacker. He doesn't have what it takes to to make it to the top." Jericho says that at Fyter Fest, he will make Orange Cassidy run out of juice. So when Orange Cassidy gets the microphone, he puts it down. But he grabs the microphone from Jericho and then drops it down. And then goes for Jericho's hands, puts it in his pockets. Oh, sorry. I was thinking about a while back. About what I meant to say was Orange Cassidy, does the whole, kicking Jericho's shin with on the way he does it, and puts in his hands in his pockets, and then decides to take his glasses off, and then destroys his glasses. And I'm like, oh, you made a mistake there, Jericho. You don't mess with another man's sunglasses. So Orange Cassidy goes with Chris Jericho fighting, outside the ring into the crowd, and that we got family and friends there. AEW staff there. And they start from the upper level. Jericho slams the remote camera into Cassidy, and I think that's where Cassidy started bleeding from his ear. Jericho has Cassidy, then Cassidy counters and slams Jericho on the railing. The rail, I meant to say, excuse me. And it was at this point where Cassidy was bleeding. That's why I mentioned that a little bit ago. Cassidy runs into Jericho, and Jericho backwards into a table. As Orange Cassidy is bleeding, standing as his music playing, and then show off there. And that was it for the Go Home Show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it on that segment. So my wrestling were 5 matches, and my overall score for the show, I'm gonna go with I'll go with a 7 out of 10. And that being said, folks, thank you all for watching. For It's Natural Born Thriller, saying peace on the street. This was your AEW Dynamite result. We're just to give you All Elite Wrestling review. We're changed the show from June 24th, 2020. That's the next time, folks. Which the next review will be about AEW Dark results for the next review of All Elite Wrestling from June 30th, 2020. But until then, folks, and also we're changed to Fyter. You'll get that as well. We're changed to AEW Dynamite presents Fyter Fest. We're changed to event 1, and then later on, event 2. With that being said, you'll stay well, stay safe, take care of yourself for everything that's going on in the world, and I will see you all next time. So I'm out here. Ta-ta for now.